Dobro veče, dobrodošli u Veče sa Ivanom Ivanovićem. Večera sa vama Juan Pablo Escobar. Zabavlja vas Ana Štajdohar sa bendom. I ahora, tu anfitrión, a sada vaš domaćin, Ivan Ivanović.
Ćao svima, dobro veče, dobro veče. Dobro veče, prošli su praznici, sve je okej, svi ste dobro. Ko se koliko ugojio za praznike? Neviđeno, užas jedan. Užas, čovjek se probudi ono kao i... Ko je ovo i ogledalo? Osim Baneta, on uvijek izgleda isto. Ne znam kako mu polazi za rukom, ali... To mora da je tajna neka drevnih ovih NM. Krenemo od sporta, može? Ej! Ćao Srki, dobrodošao nazad. Bilo je tako tiho bez tebe. Bivši fudbalski virtuoz robija u 8 kvadrata sa ubicama i silovateljima. Znači i dalje ima i biciklice i okretanje na petoparcu. Sve kako treba. Vaše okruženje je važno za mentalno zdravlje. Bane, od sutra radiš od kuće. Važna vest, povećan broj korisnika droga na Kosovu, takozvano zavisno Kosovo. Uhapšen pribojac na Zlatiboru zbog narkotika, a toga se najviše pribojavao. Sada smo u jednom talasu retardiranih fora. Nazovimo ga tsunami retardiranih fora. Vest u novinama. Evo šta Jeleni Đoković stvara najveću nervozu. Što Novak kad uđe u WC ne izlazi dok ne obori rekord po vremenu provedenom na tronu. 500 nedelja. Na Vračaru bahati Beograđanin isekao drvo da bi se parkirao. Ajte, molim vas, otkud Beograđani na Vračaru? A nemojte... Zrenjaninac vozio sa 4,29 promila alkohola u krvi. Najveća kazna mu je bila kad se sutradan probudio žedan, a vode nema. I to je sad... Korejac, šokiran životom u Srbiji. I mi, brate, i mi. On bar ne vidi celu sliku. Naslov, sada možete kupiti psa robota sa bacačem plamena za manje od $10.000. Još ako ga istrenirate da leže ispod kotlića 4 sata. Ja bi odmah kupio ovo, majke. Gdje si, brate, izađeš sa kerom koji je robot i bljuje vatru? A? Po Vračaru sa onim njihovim pudlicama i maltezirima. Samo... I odmah prodajem Kinezima iza ćoška. Agonija srpskih turista na povratku iz Grčke. Znam, Makedonija. Pozdravim sve gledalce u Makedoniji. Da ne bude zabune. Evo sad u Italiji mi prišla jedna porodica iz Makedonije slika sa mnom. Znači, u Makedoniji se baš gledamo, gledaju nas ljudi. Tako da hvala vam. Svaki gledalac nam je bitan. Šalim se, ne znam da smo popularni dole i zato što nas gledate, zato vas i zajebavamo, da razumete? Da ne gledate, mi vas ne... Evo, jeste čuli nekada da zajebavamo Slovence? Mada gledaju nas i tamo. Da. Pokušavam da vidim da li ima neko mesto gde nas ne gledaju. Mađari nas ne gledaju. Mađari nas gledaju. Kažu iz režije Bugarska. Bugari nas gledaju. Sjećaš da sam bio tamo gost. Bugari tačno znaju ko sam, gde stanujem. Imaju ovog svog ovdje kod nas i onda on im javlja sve. Šalje podatke svojim žutim automobilom. Potreban vam je samo WD-40 sprej i nećete imati problema sa miševima. Podmažeš ih i oni ne cijuču. Prosto ko pase. Gledamo zanimljive činjenice. Brat Jovana Jeremić nosi čarape sa likom Ivice Dačića, tako da je pronađeno i kojom mokrom čarapom je udaren. Srpski fudbal je na dnu, ali mora da se kopa još 25 metara za šipove nacionalnog stadiona. Danas ste pojeli poslednje uskršnje jaje. Do sutra ćete osjetiti prve simptome. Ana Brnabić misli da je jedino ispravno reći Hristos vaskrse i zato uvek kaže Hristos voskrese. Aleksandar Vučić je više vremena proveo govoreći kako narod ne radi dovoljno nego što je proveo radeći. Ali ja podržavam predsjednika, treba da se radi, treba više da se radi i predlažem da svaki građanin koji radi manje od 40 sati ili manje od 50, kad uvedemo 50, dobije dežurnog člana Srpske napredne stranke koji će ga jahati do posla i nazad. I da mu se smanji porcija hrane. Pa, smijete se. Svi ćete da imate kose oči i da idete peške, budete jahani, mamu vam vašu. Da jedete pileće nogice sljedeći Uskrs, eto, to će da vam doći. Ali neka, tako i treba.
Sosu od suvih šljiva.
Sosu od suvih šljiva, normalno. Pa nismo cave da jedemo s višnjama ko Mađari. Ko uznemirava morža u Norveškoj, bit će kažnjen sa 1000 evra. Tako da sad baš ništa zanimljivo nema da se radi u Norveškoj. Ne znam da li sam vam rekao za ovaj naslov Korejac šokiran životom u Srbiji. Jesam, da. Zamislite kad bi znao da svi misle da je Kinez. Realno. Jedan kupac je u Hrvatskoj pronašao pola pacova u konzervi pasulja. Hrvati sirotinja nemaju ni celog pacova. Pa, to je... Mada ko jede grah nije ni zaslužio celog pacova. Ko uznemirava morža u Norveškoj, bit će kažnjen sa 1000 evra. A ako ne plati, ide u tvorža. To je... Da. Justin Bieber imao transplantaciju kose, da nadoknadi ono što mu je Puff Diddy počupao. Htio sam da pozdravim sve one klince koji su 2011. imali 10 godina, 12. Ono, Justin Bieber, vi i ja. Never ending story. Živeo Puff Diddy. Vesti... Šala. Ali ja sam tada rekao da on prima. Doduše nisam znao da je protiv svoje volje, mada je ostalo nerazjašnjeno. Ali ima snimak. Nema se. Vesti iz budućnosti.
Gledate vesti iz budućnosti za 10. maj 2034. godine. Srpska opozicija odlučila je da ne učestvuje na još jednim izborima. Ovaj put odlučili su se da ne učestvuju pod sloganom Biram da iskuliram. Popularna online igra Fantazi Vlada Srbije uvodi zabranu za igrače. Kako saznajemo, više neće biti moguće uvrstiti u svoj tim Ivicu Dačića, jer su to već zagarantovani poeni. Aleksandar Šapić, gradonačelnik onoga što je ostalo od Beograda, objavio da se uvode nove cenovne kategorije za karte gradskog prevoza. Cene karte variraće u zavisnosti od toga da li ulazite u autobus koji je zapaljen, koji se prepolovio ili koji se zaglavio u blatu. U Legolandu, jednom od simbola procvata Srbije nakon Expa 2027. premijer Miloš Vučević je doživeo manju neprijatnost kada ga je jedan od posetilaca pomešao sa Lego figuricom zbog oblika glave, te pokušao da mu na istu pričvrsti kockicu. Fudbal ipak živi u Srbiji. Predsjednik Fudbalskog saveza Srbije objavio je da se ove nedelje očekuje prva utakmica na velelepnom nacionalnom stadionu. Kako je objasnio, ranije nije bilo izvodljivo jer ljudi rade, nemaju vremena i teško je skupiti dovoljno ljudi za termin pa da se odigra na 2 gola. Gledali ste vesti koje će biti...
Dečko sijanski bliznakinja otkrio zašto je toliko voli. Zato što je dobra. Ceo život nosi sestru na grbači. Kralju. Kao što vidite, skinuo sam sve tekstove o sijanskim bliznakinjama. O konkretno ovom paru od kojih jedna ima dečka, a druga... Javit će se udruženje sijanskih bliznakinja Srbije da se buni zbog ovoga. Naslov, kralju paprika hakovali profil. On se naljutio 20 skovila. Jutarnji... Brate, sad sam ostao bez love zbog tebe. Kladili smo se da niko neće znati šta je ovo i baš si ti morao danas da se vratiš i da se smeješ. Jutarnji program na Pinku za Uskrs se emitovao iz kuće Jovane Jeremić, a prase se vrtelo uživo u programu, a bilo je i pečenja. Severina, početak mojih 30-ih obeležio je film. Najgore mi je bilo kako će moj razredni odreagovati. Pa bilo mu neprijatno, ali Domor Stipe se obradovao ko nikom. Ne znam, ima toliko godina je. Ja mislim da ja još nisam radio na televiziji kad je krenuo, kad je izašao film. Koje godina to bilo? Kao, bilo je u 14 časova tog i tog. To je, delio se onaj CD po Beogradu, brate, gde god dođeš neko ti nudi CD sa Severinim filmom. I to smo čak piraterisali, umjesto smo lepo platili da gledamo. Ne vidim. Dnevnik malog Aleka.
Dragi dnevniče, ne verujem u uskršnjeg zeku, ali zato verujem u Kineze, pa sam im pisao da želim vozove. Iako neki kažu da imam previše godina da bih verovao u Kineze. Moj drugar Peđa Zdejković kaže da i on obožava vozić. Još uvek se snažno borim za svoju školu, iako druge škole misle da sam sitna riba. Viču mi Vučić u kederu, Vučić u kederu. Išli smo na ekskurziju da vidimo kako se pravi fudbalski stadion, pa nam se autobus zaglavio u blatu. Lepi osjećaj da smo jedan Piksi i ja u istom blatu. Sve u svemu, stalno neki problemi.
Da. Vest u novinama, Vučića na kineskoj televiziji gledalo 300 miliona ljudi. Dok ga na Pinku gleda manje ljudi, ali sve izgleda kao kinesko. Sva taksi vozila u Beogradu su bela, pa kad budu leteli tačno ne znaš da li je taksi ili oblak. Biće vrlo... Aleksandar Šapić je izjavio da bi se vodio Beograd potrebno je daleko više od teoretskog znanja. Dobre, mora da se ne zna ništa. Striktna pravila. Zajebavanje. Aleksandar Vučić najavio je mogući dolazak Legoland zabavnog parka u Surčin. Eto, može Vesić da im slaže kocki. Hoće da bude... Kineski mediji bruje o poseti Sija Srbiji. I sad će milijardu Kineza da googla šta je to Srbija, što je opet mnogo bolje nego da jedu slepe miševe. Dobro, vreme za žurnal, omiljenu rubriku Nikoga. Žurnal.
Predsjednik Vučić je obišao radove na novom stadionu i prilikom obilaska se autobus zaglavio u pesku. Ali kada su neki ljudi izašli iz autobusa, predsjednik je nastavio. Tako je, predsjedniče, moraš da se oslobodiš viška tereta. Predsjednik Vučić je najavio izgradnju velikog akvarijuma ispod ušća. Akvarijum će biti pod zemljom, jer ako bude pod vodom, onda bi stvarno bili u govnima, a predsjednik to ne želi. Predsjednik Srbije Aleksandar Vučić je najavio da će se finale Lige Evrope 2028. godine odigrati na novom stadionu u Beogradu. Ako bude stadiona i ako bude Beograda.
Dobro, vreme za Bise nedelje. Bise nedelje, ove nedelje iz naše kuće, ne negativno, ne ni pozitivno. Meni je zanimljivo kako kada... Moja teorija je inače da živimo u terminalnoj fazi srpskih televizija i da je kada to neko sranje, kada krene, ono se prosto preliva na sve strane i onda i ti kad hoćeš da nešto kao kažeš, to je ipak sranje, pa koliko god da si duhovit ili šta god, to je sranje i onda je to sranje i na tvom programu i onda je sranje na svim programima. Tako da mislim da je ovo sve jedno veliko sranje, ali da je koleginica bila duhovita.
Samo veselo.
Ja ne mogu da pevam, pošto moram sada da budem ozbiljan.
Željko Veljković, Televizija Nova.
A mi sa jedne deponije na drugu. Deponija Duboko u Užicu gori već 3 dana.
Večeras imamo muzičku gošću, Mara Dupon, kantautorka i pijaniskinja, održat će koncertnu promociju prvog albuma pod nazivom Svet. U utorak 14. maja u klubu studenata tehnike u sklopu jubileja ovog kultnog kluba album Svet se sastoji od tradicionalnih balkanskih pesama obrađenih u džez maniru. Uživajte u njenoj muzičkoj numeri i dođite posle reklama. Sa nama večeras Juan Pablo Escobar.
Ostanite sa nama.
Sadly, thanks to Netflix, we have a new generation of kids willing to be like my father.
Most of the money was taken by other people.
Seeing your own grandmother saying to your enemies, before you kill him, I want all of his assets. I wish that she could be the kind lady that we saw on Netflix, but at least 3,000 people died, I don't know, because of my father's orders. And I said, hey, Dad, you know, because I am a victim of a car bomb, that doesn't allow me or give me a permission to put bombs everywhere.
Since we have in this country a lot of young people that are admiring your father.
I don't know any retired drug dealers. They are all dead or in jail.
So when did you go to Argentina?
We enjoyed the privilege of being nobody for 5 years.
And after 5 years, what happened?
This guy is trying to make an extortion against us. So they put us in jail.
You finished the university, you're an architect, and you have a family on your own.
What defines my identity is how I behave.
I
Vreme za mog večerašnjeg gosta. On je dragi gost grada Beograda. Ima fenomenalnu životnu priču koju deli sa svima i šalje dobru poruku svima, pogotovo mladima. Sa nama večeras Juan Pablo Escobar. Hi, welcome to my show.
Thank you.
I already had the opportunity to sit with you. We drink some wine, just a little bit, and some red meat, just a little bit. I'm saying this because my doctor, you know, it's like, you know them.
We take care of ourselves.
Yeah, and it was a very nice experience for me. I want to tell you this before the conversation because I want people to know that we're just going to talk relaxed here in this episode, and we already did it and it went well. And it was a good time, and I'm happy that you're in Belgrade, and I think that you have a very important message for all the people around the world.
Thank you.
And the reason for you coming to Belgrade is this lecture. Can you say that?
Yes. It is an event that I invented thanks to my life and to the, let's say, the experiences that I inherited from my father and all the knowledge. And you know, it's about the suffering, it's about reconciliation, forgiveness, and many other things, resilience. And
when I said to people who's my guest, you know, their reaction is amazing from my point of view, because they're all like, oh, wow. But then you see that they don't know what to expect, you know. It's like, my opinion is that your life is so interesting and so full of everything that I don't even know how you managed to pack it in one lecture or in one book or whatever.
Well, me neither.
It was a hard job to do, yeah?
Yeah, it is. It's always hard, and always when you have a huge responsibility. You know, just to pronounce a single word can make a huge change in your life or in my life too.
So tell me, this is like interaction between you and audience. I understood that there will be some questions from the people if they want to ask.
Yes, I always, you know, at the end of the event, I open the microphone so anybody can ask me. There's no restrictions, you know.
What are generally the questions that people ask you?
The most common is, where's the money? And that's, you know, I never ask anyone where do they hide their money, but, you know.
So do you answer, I wish to know?
No, yeah, I actually, you know, when I wrote my book, I intentionally named a chapter, Where's the Money? Because of so many questions about it. Because it takes a lot of time to explain where is it and who has it.
So basically, as far as I know, most of the money was taken by other people.
Yes,
lawyers,
the cartels,
family members.
Family members, the cartel, the Cali cartel, who, let's say, won the war against my father. Yeah. They took control of Colombia and they took all the money. They said that they wanted to condemn me to be poor because they knew that if I just have a couple of $1 million for myself, that perhaps I will kill them. That's what they fear.
Yes, it's a very interesting part, and I want to speak about it, but I just wanted to finish about the event, what people around the world can expect from you. What are your main topics? We now know what is the main question of the audience, but what is your main topic, and what was maybe the biggest reason you had to start doing this, what you do?
Well, I think that we were talking about a little bit about yesterday, you know, when it's enough, you know, in terms about power, money, love, fear, and many other things that perhaps this kind of questions we don't ask so often. And we need to do that because we need to know our own limits. And I think that my father somehow showed us the path we shouldn't take as human beings. That's how I feel and how I see his own story, his own experience in life. And it's about also a reconciliation process with my father's victims and also about identity, because we are attached to our names, last names. Oh. You were actually asking, how should I call you? Yeah. And that's exactly what I mean. Is, you know, for me, what defines my identity is how I behave. You know, it's not how I'm called.
Everything that I found about you and about your life story and the story of your family is covered with the shadow of your father. I'm not saying this doesn't have to be in a bad way. It's sometimes bad way, sometimes good way. I'm 100% sure that you have some very nice and loving memories with him as a father.
Absolutely.
But this shadow started immediately after his death. Practically the first big thing in your life to do was to go on a meeting with how many drug cartel people, like 30 of them?
Yeah, well, they all control all the trafficking.
It was not only the Cali cartel, it was all the cartels from Colombia.
Yeah, and also my fathers, they used to be friends at the beginning, then they were associates, then they became enemies, and I must say that not only the Cali cartel, but other cartels, but also authorities. You know, the authorities were there.
It was interesting, the marriage between the authorities and the other cartels.
But it's something that happens, you know, it's the war on drugs creates that, you know.
Yeah.
They form allies, and then they dismiss them, then they kill them, then they create another war, more violence coming. It's like a never-ending story.
Never-ending story, yeah. Your life was, we could say, like, except for the last year or year and a half, you had a very good, rich life, everything like in a fairy tale. And what I saw about your mom, that she was married to your father as a very young person, and practically when this thing happened, it was the first time in her life that she needed to take care of her family by herself. And the first mission that she had, actually she went first to speak with all these cartel guys. And the subject was, would they leave you alive, or?
They assured me that I was going to, you know, be killed when I arrived to the meeting. And of course, at the beginning, you don't want to go to that kind of meeting.
You were only 16, yeah?
Yeah, I was 16. And, you know, I received this news when I was in jail, not me, but visiting some other cartel members because they needed to talk with me.
Yeah.
And the message was, you have to go there. And I said, no, I'm not doing it. And a guy approached to me and they said, you don't understand what's going on? And yes, I do understand. They want me dead. And he said to me, no, you don't understand. You are already dead.
No.
And I said, okay, how come? And he said, yes, and the only chance you have to get out alive from that meeting, be there on time. So I arrived 24 hours earlier, just in case. You know?
Yeah. So what was your, when you're entering the room and you know all these people, yeah? Most of them you know already.
But I know them, you know, because of the media, because my father told me.
You know the reputation, at least.
Yeah, the reputation, you know, they were my father's biggest enemies. But the biggest surprise was when I found my family, my grandmother. Yeah. There with them, not with me. So that was a very, very strange thing, because I never thought about it, that my father could have such a huge enemy and so close.
In the house?
Yeah, inside.
His mother, you speak about his mother? But she's
I wish
like
that she could be the kind lady that we saw on Netflix, but...
Yeah, that's why I'm shocked. Yeah.
No. That's why they made a lot of mistakes with Netflix TV series. They don't know.
You offered them information, as far as I know, yeah?
Yeah, but they told me they knew everything, so that they didn't need me, so okay. They bought, you know, the DEA version of my father's story. So it's like a political statement too, you know.
Yeah, but the parts of the you know, I'm shocked about the grandmother. Sorry.
Me too. I wish that I preferred Netflix version of my grandmother than
it was
than
a
the
good
real
version of your grandmother.
More kind.
Caring and everything.
Yeah, and it's not a good experience, you know, seeing your own grandmother saying to your enemies before you kill him, I want all of his assets for me. It's like it was like too much. Yeah. So I feel twice dead in the same meeting because of that. You know, very disappointed.
It is. It's an amazing information. And did you have any plan before entering the room? Did you spoke to yourself like, I'm going to say this and that, and?
You know, the only plan that I knew that I just, you know, I just surrendered to God, you know, and then said, okay, I'm in your hands. So just take me wherever you want, and I want to, you know, put an end to all of this. And I only think once that if I pronounce a word, I will be killed right away. Yeah. So I stayed, you know, in silence all the time, letting all talk. And
what was the first sentence that they told you?
Well, I remember that the first guy who started speaking was Miguel Rodriguez Orejuela, the head of the Cali cartel. And he started saying something like, you know, what it belongs to Caesar, it should remain there. And so Pablo, to my father, he wrote a will And I was like, it was a little bit strange. They were there, the enemies, to decide the future of the assets and all that stuff. But he was like feeling a little bit embarrassed because my family members were there next to them, like willing, to, when are you going to kill him? Because we are partners. And so they feel like very embarrassed because of that. And everything like shifted very immediately. And they start defending us, No, we are not going to kill them. We are going to maintain the things that Pablo let them inherited. So, because they wanted to have the same opportunity in the future. When we die, we need to be respected. We need our families to be respected. Yeah. And they show a lot of respect even to my father, even if he was one of the worst enemies they all.
Yeah, they call him a tiger on that meeting. Yeah, yeah, unbelievable with the grandmother. I'm really shocked. I didn't see that one coming. Yeah, you had to say, yeah, there is. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just
only one thing.
Only one thing.
I can imagine. When before you coming here to have a conversation with you, I was really not afraid, but. There's always a dilemma when somebody's coming and his life is such as yours. There's no way you can put everything in one show, in one interview, and then, to choose the moments and to pick the story and whatever. So I brought the same decision, show me the way. And where this leads us, that's how the conversation is gonna take place. So anyhow, you had to guarantee to them that you will not do any revenge.
I promised them, and I made a huge mistake. I told them that they told me, you should never be part of the drug trafficking business. And I said to them, no worries about that, because that's a curse. Yeah. And that they wanted to kill me. That's...
Yeah, what do you mean curse? It's our life.
So they start arguing with me. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? It's like we live a great life, blah, blah, blah. But after a year, they were all dead. Yeah. And half of them in jail, half of them dead. So it is a life that won't take you to any good place. Doesn't matter how you behave, doesn't matter how you think you're going to be, the kind of life, the kind of business will take you to the worst places.
And this is actually your main message today, yeah?
Yeah, because sadly, thanks to Netflix, we have a new generation of kids willing to be like my father. No. You even see they are tattooing my father's face
the
everywhere.
T-shirts, everything.
And everything. So it's became like a regular thing, like a normal thing. And now they wrote me in the social media and they say, we watched the TV series and we want to be like your father. And I received messages from all over the world. It's not a Latin American thing. Yeah. I received messages from Afghanistan or Russia or any country of Europe. So it's like a very weird thing. Middle East, anywhere.
I'm always thinking that maybe people who makes those series or movies or whatever, their main issue is not to make audience love these people and be like them, but it happens somehow. And the most common case is your father. It's very interesting that I watched, I think, everything that is made about him. I'm not a fan. I don't think it's a good job and people should do that. But I noticed one thing, that there is always a part in which you should like something that he do. At least he's always shown as a caring father, and like you go kill this guy and then you come into the room and then he's immediately a soft person, like forgetting everything. And I think this is the reason why people don't, I don't want to say hate him, but why people want to be like him. They maybe think that they could not make his mistakes and then have a good life. But there is no good scenario in this business. But also, was he such a type, a caring father? And
I have no complaints about the father. I have complaints about the gangster or the terrorist, the guy who was giving the orders to kill a lot of people, and most of them innocent victims. So, and even if they were guilty, I find no justification for violence. I think, and I have, argued with him for several occasions. Let's say when the Cali cartel put us the first car bomb ever in Colombia. And my father started, responding to them with more car bombs. Yeah. And I told him, please stop, man. What are you doing? And he said to me, you forgot your little sister and your mother and you were the first victims of the terrorist attack. So I'm giving them back what they deserve. And I said, hey, Dad, because I am a victim of a car bomb, that doesn't allow me or give me a permission to put bombs everywhere.
Of course, yeah.
But he was a man full of excuses to commit violence and crimes, and he is like he was already sure that he was going to be a criminal for the rest of his life, so he wasn't thinking about how to get out of that life.
And the consequences for you guys.
Never thought about that.
When was the first moment when you became aware of who your father is? I assume like when you were 4 years old, you didn't know anything about it?
No, not at all. I just, imagine me, I was a kid, and I was, just next to my father going to political events. Let's say he was inaugurating soccer fields for the poorest, and all the people, the crowd was saying, thank you, Pablo, thank you, Pablo. So I looked my father as a hero at the beginning, as we all do with our fathers. And suddenly he just disappeared. The Minister of Justice was killed, and in the news they were saying that my father was the one who was behind.
So that was the first moment that you realized?
Actually, the first time, it was because he told me, it was because we went to exile after the minister's death. And during that occasion in Panama, he sat me down and he told me, hey, son, I want you to know what I'm doing and who I am. I am a bandit, and this is what I do for a living. This is the exact words he pronounced. He declared himself as a bandit. So you are...
How old you?
7 years old.
7 years.
And of course, I know the meaning of the word bandit when I was 7, but I never figured out that my father was the chief or the CEO of the biggest criminal empire of the past century.
Oh. And was it like we saw, like all these armed people all around you all the time? And how did it affect you?
All the time surrounded me. I grew up with all of them. I didn't have any friends from my childhood. They were my friends. Oh. Because I was surrounded by them, protected by them. That was my atmosphere.
And the level of life, was it really so exclusive, like they're showing in all the movies and everything, like you get whatever you want, or?
Man, that didn't last only 5 minutes. I would prefer to not have any of those things.
Of course.
My father was considered one of the richest men in the world, and not even his millions could buy up 1 minute of peace for him.
So how many times you were under the attack, or did you had...
I lost count.
You personally, yeah?
Yeah, under attack, Did
it affect you as a kid?
Well, I don't know how you see me. So you think that I'm affected for that? I don't know.
No, I'll tell you, I see you now as a very cool person. But I'm assuming that there is a real hell behind you that you somehow managed to solve. That there is a mountain that you climbed on and then went down as a different person.
Well, I think that, the process of writing books, telling your own story, open your heart and your hands to tell the story to the world. And also recognizing the victims' rights and tell them the truth and asking them for forgiveness. Even
you made a contact with them.
Yeah, I started this process, in Colombia. Everybody thought that I was crazy because we were used to solve things with guns, not with words. And I said, yeah, unfortunately. So I said that was one of my arguments with my father. And I said to him many times, if you have to use gun to stand up for your ideas, maybe you have to double check.
You should check your ideas.
First, So it's like it is a process that I started with my father's victims. First, I contacted the family of the Minister of Justice, the sons, all of them. And then there was another presidential candidate named Luis Carlos Galán, who was for sure going to win the election, but for sure there was no second place. Yeah. And he was killed. And I remember my dad said, no dead man can be president. Yeah. And he killed him. So I approached to them, and at the beginning, what you expect, they don't want to hear about you, they don't want to see you. But, that was the answer that I was sure that I was going to obtain. But suddenly, they received my letter very well, and they invited me to Colombia to have a conversation. And this was considered like an historical moment for Colombia because it's never before nobody dared to just approach and speak and not trying to explain because there's no explanation for violence. But at least, saying, I'm sorry, I'm not proud of what my father did against your family. And because it's a contradiction too. My father used to support the ideas of the men he killed.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Unbelievable, yeah.
Well, this created an extremely tough burden on your back and back of your family, your mother and your sister. And those few years, the first few years after you left Colombia, when they decided that you can leave, you first went to Mozambique, am I right?
Yeah, we had an arrangement with the Mozambican government. It was actually the only country on earth who was willing to accept us and receive us there. And we were told that it was like a kind of a humanitarian act, but then they were asking for $1 million in exchange of the humanitarian act.
So did the grandmother send them? Sorry.
She took their money.
So then how much time you spent there?
Well, actually, we were supposed to be there and stay and live for the next 10 years of our life. Oh. We legally changed our names because we couldn't even buy a plane ticket to get out of the country.
Is that when Sebastian came to the story?
Yeah, that's why Sebastian.
Is it true that you opened the phone book and just put a finger on the name?
Well, no, actually, we asked for the phone books. There was no internet in that time, and we were just trying to find last names that couldn't be related to the drug trafficking business. So until we get into the letter M, we found like a couple. Yeah. So it would, and we choose Marroquin because it was like one of our former presidents' last name, and Santos as a second last name because one of the most powerful families, even the ones who my father attacked, and that's another contradiction in our life. So we steal the last names from them just to survive. It was somebody even there to accuse me that I'm not proud of my last name. I don't care about that. It's just
I didn't want the bullet, and that's it.
Yeah, I am who I am, not because of the last name that I'm using.
Yeah. But there was a guy who tried to steal your identity, yeah? All right?
Ah, yeah, there are a lot of wannabes.
They represent themselves as the...
Yeah, even he dared to write to me and to say, if you help me, we will go half and half, and you just provide me with evidence that I can demonstrate that I'm also the son.
But what do they expect from being a son of Pablo Escobar?
They get paid. They get paid just, they go to discotheques, nightclubs, and just because they are there, people go. I don't know, it's something crazy for me.
Crazy plan, yeah.
But I don't like too much nightclub, but if I go there, I would never thought about asking the owner to pay me just for being there. No, I pay for my own drinks.
Strange. It's like a reality superstars.
And it attracts a lot of people.
So when did you go to Argentina?
Well, 4 days after. We were supposed to stay 10 years, but we went to Argentina very, very early, before Christmas. That was the year 1994, exactly.
And then the life, let's say, started to be ordinary, can I say like that? You need to finish some schools and...
we enjoyed the privilege of being nobody for 5 years. We kept anonymous during those times, very low-profile life. It was my first experience like, taking a bus.
Yeah.
I never had that experience, and I didn't even know how to pay to the driver or to a machine.
No sicarios around you?
No sicarios, because all the sicarios, they make like a bubble for me. Yeah. If I wanted, to eat a hamburger, I just sat and the hamburger came.
Yeah.
So I never had contact with people when I was a kid. So you cannot imagine how much afraid I was just to go to any hamburger place and ask for one, and everybody's smiling. Nobody's going to hurt you.
Yeah.
But it was even I felt more scared to do that than going to the Cali cartel meeting. So that's.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, well, the Cali cartel, you at least knew what to expect. You've seen that people before.
Nobody was smiling there.
Yeah, nobody was smiling there. Yeah. And after 5 years, what happened? How did?
Well, we were detained by the police, and
why?
Because an accountant that we have, he noticed that we were the Escobar family, and he thought that he could take an advantage of that. So he stole some money from us. It wasn't much money. And because we were totally, you know, in Spanish it's tranquilos, we didn't have anything to hide, relaxed. So we went to the authorities and we denounced this accountant and we said, hey, we are who we are, but we are here in peace and we are not committing any crimes. But this guy is trying to make an extortion against us. So they put us in jail.
So how
because
much
it's like you go in the streets and somebody steals from you, you go to the police and, oh, because you're so stupid, you stay here in jail.
So how much time you spent in jail?
Just for me it was only 45 days, but for my mother was 1 year and 8 months.
Based on what?
Nothing, just the DNA charges. It doesn't exist as a crime,
yeah,
but it does exist because we went to jail many times. And it wasn't my first time. I went to jail when I was 7 for the same thing, just for being the son of. And it looks good in the media, you know, you are a judge, you put them in jail, we are fighting crime. No, we are not criminals, you are fighting innocence.
Yes. So basically all your life was struggle and suffering from being a Pablo Escobar's son, basically.
Well,
and up to some point.
You know, man, I don't want to portray myself as a victim, you know. I just,
no, I'm not saying that. You're obviously not a victim. You managed well, and I admire you. You finished the university, you're an architect, and you have a family on your own. I see you as a winner. And it's really something how I see you. To win under such a tough circumstances, this is what impresses me, really. You know?
Yeah, and it was actually the unknown path for me. You know, I know the path that my father already, you know, walked, but and unfortunately, I have the know-how.
Yeah.
But I am so aware of the consequences because, you know, being the son just make me so vulnerable. Because when my father's enemies, they understood that the much harm they can do to him was killing me.
Yeah.
So I was receiving even more protection than my father.
Yeah. And also when government realized that the family can be used as a bait. As a bait, then they did the trick with you flying to Germany, coming back.
Protect us, but suddenly we were living in an apartment, and suddenly, you know, every day less people living with us because they were disappearing. Our people, you know, the lady who was just giving us a hand with the food and everything, they disappeared, the lady, the administrator of the building too, and my teachers, and a lot of innocent people died because of that.
Can you assume the number? I know that nobody knows the exact number of the victims connected to the entire story, but can you assume at least
3,000.
How much?
At least 3,000 people died, I don't know, because of my father's orders. And I'm not counting the other sides, you know.
Wow.
So it would be 5,000 or more.
There is like a museum in Bogota, yeah?
Well, there's several museums. One of them is from the police. The other one, it's based exactly in the Hacienda Nápoles, where my father used to have his own zoo. Now it became like Disneyland. It's the most visited park in Colombia ever. Like 1 million people. Thanks to Netflix, every year they go there. And so it's like an amusement park.
Why would they pay a ticket to you, no?
I deny to pay, you know,
of course.
I won't pay my ticket, you know. It's like, I want to go inside to see what they did, and I don't care, you know. I'm happy that nobody calls me again to, hey, a hippo escaped, and so I'm not more responsible for that.
But there was a good story with the animals, if I remember. When they were taking the animals from him, he had some action of replacing them with... He painted the donkey to white and black, yeah?
Yeah, to replace a zebra.
Zebra.
Yeah. So that's... And also, you know, chickens to replace birds that really were very expensive, like $20,000 each bird. So it was... My father was very fast to cheat, you know, to make any kind of... he was a very, very simple guy to find solutions for very complicated problems.
Problems, yeah. Well, okay. Well, obviously he was searching only on one side, you know, the solutions. I mean, well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, he was, you know, considered the Da Vinci of crime. From one of his victims, our former Vice President Francisco Santos,
yes,
is the name, was kidnapped by my father's orders. He stayed kidnapped during 6 months at least. And it was a very you know, unique moment, you know, seeing him talking about my father like the Da Vinci of crime. And it was like a little bit confusing because you didn't know if there was some kind of admiration or, you know, it's very weird.
Hard to recognize, yeah.
Yeah, weird.
How many times your mother was in jail?
Like 3 or 4 times.
How did you see her role in your life after leaving Colombia? How did you feel as a man? Because I know in Colombia, you know, the man is the one who should solve everything. And were you able to help her? Yeah, were you able to help her, or did you do it? And how did you do it? And
well, actually, she has a great impact in my life. She really stayed with us as a mother, protecting us 100% all the time, 24 hours a day. That was her main goal, just to take care of us. And when I was part of the documentary Scenes of My Father, where I actually had the opportunity to meet the sons of my father's victims, and when I got the poster of I just signed it to my mother, and I made just a dedication to her, and I said to my master of forgiveness. That's my mother.
Yeah. It's Was this like a problem to you to be a parent after everything? I assume that bringing the decision to have a child was not easy for you.
We waited more than 20 years to experience the blessing of being a father, because I felt that if I dare to, you know, bring a child to this world, and if I felt that this child was going to be attacked again by the authorities, and being pursued just because of his DNA, like I was pursued many times, that I felt that would make me a very bad person, you know, and I don't want to be a bad person. It's easy to be a bad person, at least for me. So I didn't want to dare to bring a child in those circumstances, because I felt that would put in danger my dream. And my dream is to be a pacifist and to stay and remain as a pacifist and to wake up every single day of my life and to choose the same path.
Yeah.
So it took me 20 years when I felt that, you know, everything was like a little bit more relaxed and calm. So we started trying, and it took us 5 years to achieve that goal.
But again, the thing is that what I noticed with you, and we spoke about your son, and there is like you need to explain immediately who you are and what I assume that was the conversation you had with your wife when you met her, and with any person that you want to socialize with. You need to say who you are, what troubles might come. Although you're not, you know.
No. I never introduced myself as I am the son. I'm nobody.
No, I'm speaking just in the context of possible problems that might.
Yeah, well, with my son, like when he started talking, he was almost 2 years old. The first thing I started talking to him was about his grandfather. So I told him the whole story. So if you have a conversation with him now, you can ask him, tell me about your grandfather. And he will tell you, okay, my grandfather was a criminal, but he was also doing this and this and this. Because, you know, not everything is black and white. And my father's stories has a lot of contradictions. And contradictions, it's, you know, how could a man be so passionate about helping the poor, and at the same time being so passionate about loving his family and also killing people, everyone who would step in the middle of his road.
Did he have any anger issues? Or if you think from this point now, it's really hard to understand. He loved animals, he helped the poor, he loved his own family.
Nature.
Yes, and then from the other hand, the Da Vinci of the crime or whatever.
Yeah, he was a very complex, you know, man to define in one word. It's very, I think that he showed us also how extreme could be a human being in terms of love and in terms of hate.
Was there any important father-to-son advice that he gave you that you remembered? You know my father-son with my father advice, so did you have anything similar? Like the ultimate message for you for life?
For me, it's, he said, when I was 8 years old approximately, he sat me down in the Hacienda Nápoles and he put all the drugs available in the world in front of me. And he said to me, today we're going to talk about drugs, son. And the first line that he said to me after that was, a brave man is the only one who doesn't do drugs.
Wow, that's cool advice.
So I will never forget that. And I tell this to the kids because we all have friends, and some of them, they can, consume drugs, and they all will invite you to do the same.
Yeah.
And because you have to, maintain your friendship, you have to do it because you feel like, committed. But, you have to be brave and say, no, thank you very much. I don't want that.
Is it true in every movie, and especially in Netflix series, he's always shown with a joint?
Yeah, but not as much as they showed. He used to say to me about that never take decisions under the effect.
Yeah.
If you feel sad, if you feel depressed, don't take it because it will make you feel even worse. And just do it in a relaxed way. And he showed me that, son, every time I go and walk alone, and I go into the jungle, you know what I'm doing there? And I don't know, Father. And he said, I'm smoking marijuana there. Because I respect you, I don't do it in front of you. And because I respect your mother, I don't do it in front of her. But that's what I'm doing.
Well, interesting person. Usually when people smoke marijuana, they eat sweet and go to sleep.
Well, my father used it like just in a relaxing moment during the night.
Obviously not enough, I would say.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm making a black joke.
No.
Maybe you don't feel like,
No. We already know each other.
Yeah, we already know each other enough, yeah. I'll make a short break for the commercials, because that's how we live. We have nothing else to sell, It's like only commercials and that's it. And then we'll continue the conversation. Okay, but it won't be too long, don't worry. I will not molest you so long. Htjeli da najavim naše sledeće muzičke goste. 30. maja u MTS dvorani očekuje nas koncert Gifts and Roses, Symphonic Show of 80s. Uživat ćete u hitovima Depeche Mode, Duran Duran, Simple Minds, U2, Iggy Popa u novom audiovizualnom ruhu. Večeras Gift izvode pesmu Rebel Yell od Billy Idola. Ostanite sa nama.
Last night we were dancing, came dancing to my door. Last night we were raging, got bumping on the floor. She said, come on baby, get the license for love. And if we pass by her, because in the midnight now, she cried more and more. She cried more and more. In the midnight now, babe, more and more. When the women again, she cried more. She don't like slavery, she will see that bad. Well, I'm sorry to know me. She's free to cry, won't set you free, don't set you babe. Won't set you free, what do you hear about me? Because in the midnight now, she cried more and more. When the women again, she cried more and more. In the midnight now, babe. When the women again, she cried and he really don't have to let me out from the seventh love. And he's all like that he's there. Just alone, don't mess up his head. Ow! this one for you, babe. 1,000 miles with you. I cried your tears, oh baby, 1,000,000 times for you. I set my soul for you, baby, for money to burn with us. I give you all I have done, baby. Just out, baby, keep my beat, because it will be that down. She cried more and more. Wherever, yeah, she cried more and more. Ow! It will be that down, baby, more and more. Wherever, yeah, she cried more.
Ostanite sa nama.
Just to describe my father's family, my father was a good guy. You know, there was a time when my father ordered the killing of, disappearing of every policeman in Medellin City. 500 policemen died in 30 days.
Do you see any kind of solution in the future?
Well, if you want to support criminals, continue prohibit.
We didn't have any dealer in the school.
Yeah.
Okay,
you know what's going on
have anybody
today?
dealing drugs in the school. You know?
In Latin America, we found that even some teachers are delivering the drugs to the school. When you truly love your son, you will never wish for your son hell.
Of course. Okay, during the break, I asked you again about the grandmother. Obviously, that's the biggest shock for me. But you said you said something about your family. I would like you to say it.
Yeah, just to describe my father's family. My father was a good guy in the family, so you can look at it. And I'm not feeling proud about talking against my own family. You know,
of course, yeah.
But I feel like they, in many ways, dishonor the meaning of family, what a true family is.
Was it only because of the money, do you think? It's such a powerful...
Exclusively. There was nothing else they care about.
So as we spoke, we're not sure about the number of victims. Nobody's also sure how much money we speak about. Nobody can say precisely.
No, not even my father. You know, I asked him once a very precise question. I asked, how much money do you have? And he answered me, I lost count.
Wow.
And I also found a man who actually was, you know, taking care of the business and the money inside the U.S. And I wrote a chapter about him. And he told me, I asked him, okay, tell me about a good, you know, weekend for you.
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
In the golden era of the cartel. How much money were you dealing with or receiving? And he said, okay, one good just weekend for your father in Miami during the 80s, he could receive between $50 to $80 million only in the city of Miami.
For one weekend?
For one weekend.
Man. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
Plus the other parts of the world.
I'm not talking about LA, New York, or Chicago, or any other cities. And I thought that they were fighting between the cartels because of the areas they controlled. And they said, no, we weren't fighting against them because of the territory. But we were, they said there was a lack of drug dealers because there was a lot of, you know, addicts in the United States, that there was never enough for them.
For them, yeah. Unbelievable, yeah. Unbelievable. Well, it was then expected that the United States will shift to some stronger policy against the drugs and affecting Colombian cartels, but I must say that...
I don't think they are affecting the cartels. That's prohibition is a way to sponsor a cartel.
And they try to organize them in a way that...
It's not well-organized crime. And, you know, for me, the war on drugs is just leaving a lot of blood. We already, you know, have 1 million deaths between Mexicans and Colombians, and not for drug abuse, just to control the territories. That's a huge war, and the business, thanks to a law or a decree, is being given to the bandits and to the criminals as a gift.
So do you think that it will ever be solved in any way? Do you see any kind of solution in the future?
Well, we already declared a war on drugs 180 years ago, when the biggest cartels, China and the UK, start fighting for the Opium War. And look at the results today. We have as much Pablo Escobar as you want. They get bigger, they get stronger, they have more money to bribe anyone, they can defeat and challenge any government in the whole world. They even own submarines today, they're like a huge country by themselves. So I think that perhaps we should start thinking about the possibility of, you know, changing our way of thinking. And how about if we declare peace on drugs? How about if we accept the fact that we have been consuming drugs, humanity, for centuries, and that this is a health problem, that this is a medical problem, not a military issue. So it should be addressed like that. And among all those things, the governments should control the substances. Today you found cocaine with glass powder inside. Why is that? Because drug dealers, they don't care about the health of their consumers. The worse they get, the most
so
money
you think accepting like what happens with marijuana in many countries?
Starting by the United States, more than half of the states already legalized marijuana.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they are giving instructions to all Latin American countries prohibit marijuana.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, I don't have a solution. I'm just asking you.
Me neither.
I really don't know.
You know, I don't have a solution, but we all know what doesn't work.
Yeah, something needs to be changed.
We all know what doesn't work. Yeah. Thanks to that prohibition, that created the perfect storm for my father. So he became bigger, more powerful, and he killed Minister of Justice. He killed CIA agents in the United States. He was, challenging everyone, and that only prohibition gave him so much power.
Interesting subject for me, because in Serbia we have a situation where we are now in the middle of the big, huge process where arguably the government itself is interfered in the production of marijuana, which is illegal here, but we speak about the tons. So maybe we are just the innovators and not the criminal government. Maybe they will have now the excuse, maybe the good way of story, how to explain their behavior.
For me, there's no, if you want to support criminals, continue prohibiting. Yeah. That's the best way you can. Yeah, that's. And I know many drug dealers, of course. I never met a single one of them who was in favor of legalization, because that would be the end of their power and the business.
Yeah, understandable. Yes.
And I know that there's a lot of prejudice, and it's a deep subject that requires better conversations and more.
Oh yeah, absolutely. People should understand that you and I, we don't think we are the two guys who knows the solution right now.
No, but we know what doesn't work.
Yes,
we already know.
For sure.
We have evidence of what doesn't work.
Absolutely, I agree with that. I want to ask you about the parenting. In every man's life, you think something about your parents and you have some attitude about them and their parenting, but then when you become a parent, it's like a good time for revision of...
understanding.
Yeah, understanding, yeah. So today when you are a father, how do you see your father as a father? Would you maybe in his place stop earlier because of your kids' understanding? Could he even understand what's going to happen to you after he's gone?
No, I think he never. That was one of his biggest mistakes, not thinking about the consequences of his actions. And
generally in life.
Generally in life. So he was like doing whatever he wanted and not thinking about it. And that's why, I don't know, we are speaking about him 30 years after his death until today. It's like 3 decades is too much. And I don't know, I think that my father, he was, he was brutally honest with me. And I respect him for that, because he never lied to me. Even if the truth was something very hard to swallow, he never lied to me. And I appreciate that very much, because I never lived a fantasy life like the other sons of that I know today. And they were actually let's say, they were my father's enemies too. None of them have seen their father as a criminal, because they already portrayed themselves as a businessman, decent people who were just being gossips, but it's not true. We are good people. And so I felt that I had a better father if I compare to the others.
And now...
And my biggest challenge for me as a father today is how to raise my kid. What kind of father would I be if I tell my son to hate his grandfather? I'm not that kind of guy, but I need to be very sure and make him very aware that when he has enough and get older enough to make a choice, to make a decision, he will choose not to be like his grandfather.
Yes. So, are you honest with him? You must be honest with him, yeah?
Absolutely.
Showing of love. You had that, yeah? Your father was showing love to you.
Absolutely, all the time.
So I assume you show love to your son as well, yeah?
Absolutely, man. And it was a very difficult time, because in Colombia, we're still today, even today, we're a macho country, And in those times, it wasn't something that people look at, something nice that a father could give a kiss to his son. It was like something gay.
I understand.
It's like, and it was like everybody would look at you like, but the patron, my father, the big boss, every time I arrived to his office or wherever I saw him, he was giving me hugs and kisses, and so that really, he didn't care about that, and he was a truly loving father, and I think that today I am also the guy I choose to be because of the love that I was raised with.
So we could say that the love is universal.
It's very important, man.
Universal key to solution for every problem in this world. That's how I see it,
No, and I follow you on that, because, I grow up with a lot of bandits, and the most common story with their families was violence inside. They witness how their parents, almost kill each other, rapes and, sexual abuse, many situations. So when these kids, they grow up and found Pablo Escobar giving money and power to them and treating them well as a father also, they were willing to die for him,
No. You brought your son to Colombia and you showed him this museum, I don't know how to call it, and you told him, this is what your grandfather did.
Yeah, we went to the ruins of La Catedral prison, where there's a small museum with all the pictures of my father's victims and terrorist acts and how many policemen he killed. There was a time when my father ordered the killing of, disappearing of every policeman in Medellin City. 500 policemen died in 30 days. That was a tremendous...
What was his reaction on this?
Well, I was trying to show him that, as I told you during the beginning, nothing is black and white. I wanted him to see by his own eyes the reality of the facts behind his grandfather. But at the same time, I took him to my father's neighborhood in Medellin, the ones he built for the poorest. And he was willing to speak with the people there and say, yes, but I have to tell them that my grandfather was a bad guy. And I said, I know what you mean, but that won't be the perfect place to do such a thing, because these people, they love my father because they only receive love from him. So, and that's life, that doesn't erase the violence at all. Yeah. And that doesn't, diminish the fact that there was a lot of blood behind the money he used to help those people, but he needed to understand that there should be a balance and that we have to respect everybody's opinion. If somebody tells me that my father is a terrorist, it's true.
He is, yeah.
And he told me he's a drug dealer, yes. And he was also a good father, yes. That's all true.
Since we have in this country a lot of young people that are admiring your father, the criminal part about him, and he's extremely popular in Serbia as a drug dealer, and they would like to be as he is, and etc. Do you have any message for them as a son of the guy that they're admiring, and as a person who was there in the middle of the hurricane and who tasted all parts of that life, and somebody they can really trust when you tell them there is no doubt about what you will tell them?
The first thing is that, trust me, that if it was good, I will be part of it, you know. If there was something good that I could find, I will be part of it. But I never found something good in it, and I don't know any retired drug dealers. They are all dead or in jail, so I believe that they are very talented as persons, as human beings. And my invitation is, don't waste your talent, you know, in those stupid things. Because, yeah, it could promise you a lot of money during the beginning, but at the end of the day, it will kill you. It comes back like a boomerang, man. It is a curse. What I said to the Cali Cartel members. And they were arguing me, but look at the Cali Cartel today, what it remains. And it was a corporation. It was huge. It was like impossible to destroy.
Companies,
like
banks, touristic agencies, everything.
Very, very complex organization. And it's totally destroyed. Their families separated. And nobody can, you know, live to go to the United States or go out. So they are like separated. Everybody is in jail. Come on, it's like life is better than that. You have to find
so many beautiful things to do.
Yeah, man. You know, and if you know, we have to struggle and find our own way to do things. And you were telling me about your life too, and how you struggle, and how you are here now. And I prefer to clean bathrooms, man, instead of having the opportunity of being a drug dealer. Thank you very much. I know I'm disappointing a lot of guys. But mostly a lot of authorities, because I choose not to be a drug dealer.
But you didn't disappoint your family, and that is the most important thing.
No, and I'm doing this for my son, because I know that I have to leave him a better future. This is my big responsibility as a father today. And I also, being a father, I understood that my father never wanted me to be part of his gang. That's something I have to say to because when you truly love your son, you will never wish for your son hell.
Of course.
Of course.
I must tell you that I'm sure that one day if somebody do the interview with your son, there won't be any unpleasant questions about his father, So at least you move things, at least for that, to the better.
Yeah, step away of the circle of violence.
Exactly. You have a very interesting and very good program in Mexico with the kids. It's against the drugs, but in some new original way for South America. Could you explain to the people?
Yeah, well, actually, I was totally worried about, the huge influence in the teenagers all over Mexico and Latin America. I know Mexico more than even my own country. So I developed an idea for VR lenses. It's just a very short experience for the kids where they feel, and we record the experience in their town so they feel very comfortable. We don't record, the name or the gender, nothing, but we make them play, and the game is about taking decisions. It's like life.
Yeah.
If you take the wrong decisions, where do you think you're going to end up? So if they take the wrong decisions, they ended up in jail, and we went to jail and we recorded what's the experience. But they don't need to go to jail to know how it is. Just need a couple of VR lenses, and they just remove the lenses because, oh no, I don't want to be here, because they truly feel inside. And we ask questions, and we provide statistics to the governments.
How many of them have some experience with drugs?
Already, how many of them? Well, the sad part is that we already went and visited more than 1,000 schools in Mexico. More than 300,000 kids already play the experiences. The bad news, we found drugs in every single school. Marijuana, cocaine, ecstasy, all of them. They are already at school. And I'm worried for that, because my son goes to school too.
Yeah.
And he's 11 years old. And he's studying in Argentina, but it's happening everywhere. 1,000 schools is a lot of schools, and all of them with drugs inside is like too much. So we provide this kind of information because also we ask about guns, type of violence, so the government could truly use for better purposes their own resources for crime prevention. And even we had a case about crime prediction, because thanks to this idea or this system, we sound the alert that there was a kid showing off a lot of crystal in his school. And we found out that actually his father was a drug dealer. And he was stealing the drug from his father without telling him. And he was like showing off all the drug to the students of the kids. So there was a 300 student school, 250 played the experience, and 230 said to us that they saw crystal in the past week at school. So that also, allow us to act before he would start selling and make an epidemic.
I spoke with some people here from Belgrade, and we spoke about our time when we were in school, and then the conversation went from like there were drug users in our time as well, not so many, but they were there. But then one guy said, but we didn't have any dealer in the school.
Yeah,
okay?
You know what's going on?
You didn't have anybody
today?
dealing drugs in the school.
In Latin America, we found that even some teachers are delivering the drugs to the school. It's like I
truly think that in Latin America it went too far. I'm worried as a human being how these people are going to solve this, because it's,
Well, we are just trying to be as creative as possible to use this in favor of the community.
And new technologies, this is a good idea because it's kids and
they are. We should say they are very poor kids and they don't have access to this kind of technology. So when you arrive to a school with lots of lenses, VR, they all want to participate. They want to feel the experience. So it's good. And also we develop an experience for the police forces to train them in human rights, because many times they don't know how to react properly. So we develop also a program special for the forces.
So this is like that, and these lectures that you have, and writing a book, and architecture, I guess. Those are your occupations in life?
Also, yeah, industrial design.
Do you manage everything?
I'm a film producer, I'm a writer, a speaker, I'm a lot of things. And I clean bathrooms.
So you obviously used your talents for some other things.
For better purposes. If we have, there's no need to waste our talent in bad things. Come on. If my father could have seen his own talent and have a little bit more of patience and hard work, he could be twice as millionaire. And could still be alive.
Do you? I'll ask you this as a direct question. No need to sugarcoat anything. We know each other already. But when we lose somebody, and somebody dies, from time to time, I used to love a lot my grandfather, So from time to time, I imagine him sitting on the cloud, watching my life and saying to me this or that. Being satisfied or not, shouting "Don't be a pussy" or things like that, But do you ever think about your father like that? And what do you think if he can see you from time to time? Would he be proud on you today, or?
Absolutely proud. He will be sitting first line, for sure. He will be proud of what I'm doing, because I am being consistent, with my thoughts since I was a kid. And even he declared myself as a pacifist when I was 14 years old. And when he surrendered to La Catedral prison, he made a public speech. And he spoke about that he dedicated the surrender to the government to his 14-year-old pacifist kid. Yeah. So I believe that he is not disappointed at all, because even when he was alive, I was telling him what I think and what I knew about life and what I believe, not in violence.
This is the end of our conversation. I want to thank you that you came here. I want to say to everybody to use the opportunity when they have it in their town to go and to listen to your lecture and to speak with you, to read your book.
Thank you.
There's going to be a lot of interesting and useful things there. And personally, I was always hunted when I'm not finishing it. I was always hunted when I was watching the movies and the series and everything. for me, the main issue was I was always angry that they never followed the story about the family, you know? In every movie, every series, there is you, there is your sister, there is your mother.
Yeah, but my father is the only main character.
Yeah, okay, it's normal. But since they all insist on his relations with you guys, they finish the story, they wrap it up, and we never know what happened to you. And, you know, if you have in every episode the family, for me, I'm that kind of guy. I was always asking myself, what happened to this boy or what happened to this girl? And now when I found out, it's like, I'm still not sure how to feel about it. But I know that this impression that I have about you and with conversation with you, I really see you as a true winner. And I'm very happy that I met you. And I'm very happy that I got some answer that this guy from the movie or from the, you know, that character that I imagined, he found his way at the end. And he feels good about himself and his life, and he has a family. And somehow he managed to put ends together. So I really admire you for that.
Thank you.
And I wish you and your family good health and good long life.
Thank you.
And a lot of successes and happiness that you certainly deserve after everything you passed through.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Really.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
A pleasure.
Thank you, my friend. Ovo je bilo sve što sam ja imao za večeras. Nadam se da ćete izvući korisne pouke iz ovoga i shvatiti ono što je Juan Pablo Sebastian, I'll use all of your names, imao da vam kaže. Shvatite ovu poruku na pravi način, shvatite je ozbiljno i shvatite da vam na kraju ostaje samo ljubav. I to je definitivno najvažnije na ovom svetu. Laku noć, vidimo se sutra uveče na istom ovom kanalu. Hvala vam.